So now we've done a whole lot of talking about transitional housing, setting it up, having your vision, securing funding, and we still haven't gotten to the meat and potatoes. But guess what? This here is the foundation of your transitional housing facility. So this here is part 5 of our 9-part series on how to start a transitional housing facility, and we're going to jump right in talking about zoning and permits and how to structure your program the right way. So let's jump right in. So as we look at this work, it is so important. And I hear people all the time, they go right into, oh, I got a house. I'm going to set it up for this. They go through the process of setting it up and then they run into issues. Why? Because they forgot to do the proper research necessary to make sure that the property that they have can serve how they want it to serve. So I always tell people, don't start with going to get the property. You don't even know what you're doing yet. Do your research first. And so by understanding your local zoning laws and whatever property it is that you choose to be at is a game changer. So you need to understand that there are so many different zoning regulations and everyone is different in every county, sometimes in every state. You need to understand what those guidelines are. So not only are you looking at the state level, but you even need to look at your county. You need to look at the municipality to make sure you fully understand, because what you don't want to do is set this up and then run into a problem with your neighborhood saying you can't do that there. So make sure you're doing your research. Make sure you're looking, at all of the requirements related to transitional housing. You're looking up things saying what it says about multifamily housing. What does it say about group homes? What does it say about more than 3 people not related living in a house together? Like, you need to do your research, and contacting those officials and calling those offices is where you need to start if you have a property you're looking at. What I don't want to see you do is get the property and start the work and then you have a problem later. That will not be good. And I will tell you, even if, let's say that something's zoned differently, but you want it to be rezoned, right? You can still rezone a property. I don't want to discourage you from doing that, but I am going to share because it was not pleasant for me when I attempted to do that. And I'd already purchased the property, but I purchased the property so well, it was just like, I had multiple exit strategies, we'll put it that way. When we purchased this property, it was a beautiful building. We could have served, I think we were going to serve almost 50 individuals in that property. And it was beautiful. Perfect location. It was going to be the beacon of the area for everything that I do. And we went through the rezoning process and they shot it down. Like, shot it down. And they shot it down because of one term that I'll say, and I won't say the area just to protect them, but it's not in my backyard. They call it NIMBYism, and NIMBYism is real because when you're talking about impacting people, especially underserved populations, a lot of people don't want that in their backyard. So NIMBYism is real, and I will say that was what was going on in this neighborhood. Because I think I met 3 different times in front of the zoning board and was shot down. Like, they kept having me come back. And I was like, what is going on? But I recognize some things that I won't say here, but I'll say privately. If anyone wants to reach out to me and find out exactly what happened in that situation, I'll be more than happy to share. And I'll probably figure out a way how I can say it without saying too much. But at the end of the day, they did not want it in their backyard and they didn't want it brought to them by me. So through that process, we were shot down. So some things that I will teach you right now to do differently. If you have a property that you like, that you want to actually rezone, I want to say, when you do it, make sure that first of all that in the neighborhood you've got people working with you. I thought I had people working with me, but clearly I didn't. But you want to make sure they're working with you in the vision. They understand your vision. You've got players who are in that area who are movers, who can really get work done. When you got people working on your behalf in a place where you're trying to rezone something, that can serve you. I also want to encourage you to make sure that as you know that work, that you to avoid any resistance, that you really are gaining not just those players but the public support. I would say that when we were attempting to do it, we had at our public hearings people who were there to ask questions, but we didn't have a lot of people there to ask questions. So I probably could have spent more time walking the neighborhood, really just being excited, letting people know how important this would be for that community to be the beacon of what we wanted to create. But woulda, shoulda, coulda, it didn't happen. But I had an amazing exit strategy that still served us, and we moved on. So I just want to say you can get something rezoned. Just make sure that if you're going to go down that route, that you do your homework and you get advocates, you get people on board with you, you get those strong players in that community to support you, because that public support will make you, and if you don't have it, it will break you. So I don't want to see you get into that position where that doesn't serve you. So after you've done that and you've done the necessary work to know what type of property you're into, that's when you will then find and secure the right property. So once you know, and you can do it either way. You can find a property and then look at the zoning, or you can look at the zoning in an area that you really want and find a property, but it all works. But as you're finding that property, you want to make sure you're finding a property that is going to be near, especially depending on the services that you're offering. Like if you're dealing with people who are elderly, you want to make sure that they've got resources that they can tap into. Like if they have to ride one of those shuttle buses that come picks them up for transportation, you can do that if you're not providing it. If you're working with, you may be like aging out youth, they don't have vehicles, they need to be near a bus line. You need to make sure that you are thinking about the needs of the population that you're serving. So as you're doing that, that'll help you identify, whether you're going to have a property in rural or in the city, because the city has public transportation. You've got all the agencies there that support the population potentially that you will serve. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. And then making sure as you're finding the right property that you are then putting things in place that serve you. So if you're going to purchase the property, if you're going to do a lease option, however you're going to do it, but you want to be able to get the right property. Now, I love working with realtors. I'm a broker, and I know what to look for. Not every broker or real estate agent understands this model. So if you want some help to be able to connect with somebody in the area that can sort of find what you're looking for, reach out to me, tap me below. I would love to be able to make sure we find you the right broker or real estate agent that will help you find the property that you're looking for. Because the one thing you don't want to do, because if they don't know anything about this world, they don't know what to look for. And we want to make sure we're getting exactly what you need. And you don't want to swim through hundreds of listings and figuring it out yourself. That's their job. Their job is to send you what you're looking for. You give them a wish list. They then should be able to get that for you, but not everybody knows how to do that. So I like working with real estate agents that are friendly with investors, and specifically people who are friendly with this type of housing, and not everyone knows it. So now that you have making sure you set up and get the right property, you want to make sure that you are creating a program now that is structured with that resident in mind. You want to make sure you understand the intake and the application process. How are you bringing them in? Is there a qualifier for your program? Are there certain prerequisites that you want them to be able to follow before they come in? Because I have a very strict process that I follow, been doing for years to qualify. And I'll say this, my programming is more than, like when they qualify, I'm looking for something else, because I want as many people who meet my needs. of what I'm looking for, but also aren't going to cause any problems with the property. So you want to make sure that you're finding the right people for the property and making sure that they can comply with the rules that you need and that you've set in place. Because I can honestly tell you, when you go through a screening process that most, let's say, property managers do, we already know half the people coming in are going to most likely fail those markers. Because, if they were incarcerated, that's going to ding them. If they had been kicked out for an eviction, that's going to ding them. You're providing not just housing for individuals, but also services. And you have additional layers of screening that you will do to ensure you get the right resident for your property. Now, let me say, if you still have to follow Fair Housing Acts. You still have to follow the rules. You cannot discriminate against anyone for being able to be there. Your program, however, there are specific things around your program that you can look for, and those are the type of things as a requirement that you would have. So I want to just ensure that you understand the fair housing laws that are in place to protect people who want to be in your program. But I'll also say programming, because it's a program, it's not just housing. So you've got some latitude there that I can easily share more information with you on how to do that, because and especially if you're dealing with a trust property, a whole nother area that I'd love to introduce to you. So if you want to know more information about that, go ahead and give me comments below. But your goal is to be able to develop something, a process for bringing people in, how you bring them in, what's the application process, and then what is the plan? What is the plan that you are going to have them do? Like, how long will they be staying? Is it something that's just month to month? Is it something like a 90-day deal? Like, you get to create all of that. It's a program. That's what I love about what it is that we do. This is a program we're offering people, and they come in based on those qualifications. And sometimes it will require you, as you're doing your planning, that you develop some case management notes for them, because they're coming in with a plan. Each person, you'll create a plan for them if you so choose, or at least a way in which you document what they're doing so that it's a seamless process. So I just want to encourage you that in this space, as you develop this, it is going to be solid for you moving forward. So as you create a well-structured training program that helps people, you've thought all of these things through. And I like getting people here before they even get into the actual property, because setting up a property is not difficult. Setting it up, getting things lined up. This stuff, starting one, is completely different, because it's up here and you're showing the process that you're going to follow to make sure that you're going to be successful. So I hope this particular part of our 9-part series on transitional housing and setting one up is really helping you. If you've not subscribed yet, go ahead and do so that when the next video comes out, you will get it. And I look forward to sharing more information with you as you transform your life, because transform lives, transform the world. And so it is.